Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'd like to go over the basics of meditation. But before I do, I'd like to talk a bit about what meditation is not. And I've learned this from my own teachers, so I'm not presenting these ideas as uniquely mine. Meditation is not necessarily self care, but it is spiritual. One of my teachers, Susan Piver, mentioned that to me and in a class, and I was a bit surprised because I find it very much part of self-care. But what she meant by that, because we asked her to elaborate, is that meditation in and of itself is not necessarily about um, changing who we are, but rather getting to know who we are. And we do that by noticing what we are not. What we are not are the very many thoughts that continually run through the mind every day. Who we are is something else, something beyond. It's the part of us that can see that. So, why do I do that? So that I'm more aware in the grander scheme of the world, so that I can disidentify as those thoughts. So that whenever I start to notice the thoughts spinning away from me, I can make a different choice. Or if I like the thought, I could follow it. But I'm in charge. I'm able to discern. This comes in very handy. Spirit meditation is not um, easy. It's not. It's not always transcendent. And I cannot guarantee you that it is going to bring you joy or a state of peace. I'm really selling it, aren't I? I'm simply trying to give you a realistic expectation of what will happen when you begin to meditate. You'll be able to get closer to reality and disidentify with illusion. Illusions can seem incredibly real. Have you heard of that acronym for fear? False expectations or false experiences appearing real. Something like that. It can seem very, very real that everything is going wrong, that everything is spinning out of control. But that's simply a perception. I am not discounting that sometimes those perceptions have an effect on us and that sometimes things are actually quite difficult. But the truth is never that everything is terrible. There's always some beauty, and we could perhaps shift our mind to that. Or we could be able to sit with the difficulty, whichever it is that seems most appropriate for the moment. So, meditation is a way of having true compassion for the self and for the other. Meditation is a way of being able to discern what is it that is most useful to me right now to be focused on. Meditation is a way of being able to move forward with thoughtfulness and care and harmlessness, and to use right speech rather than having that outburst. Now, becoming a meditator doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be perfect. Not at all. People that have meditated for decades still occasionally lash out with their words. We're still very human. It simply means that you become more aware and that you can make a choice and shift your experience. So the truth is that the technology of meditation is really quite simple. All you need is yourself and the ability to focus on one point. We call that the object of meditation. For sitting meditation, particularly in Vipassana, Shamatha meditation, we tend to either close the eyes and direct the eyes to the place between the eyebrows, or the tip of the nose if the eyes are open, or a spot in front of us. There's a reason for that. We don't need to go into it. Some people prefer to use a drum or music and to listen to the sound. Some people prefer to move. Walking meditation is where you can feel your feet touching the ground one at a time and really feel the transition in between the lifting the foot, placing the foot down, moving to the next foot. Each of these meditations will provide something new and different. And I suggest that you try them out, each one of them. If one doesn't work for you, give another one a try. Let's begin with a simple meditation for the breath, focusing on the breath. That's what we'll eventually get to, but we're going to lead up to it. So let's begin by having you get into some position where you're seated and it's comfortable. Perhaps you're on a bolster or pillows, or perhaps you're in a chair that has support for your back, or maybe you're sitting up in your bed. You can also lie down. What's really important is that you're comfortable. So sit comfortably or lie comfortably. It is easier to do if you're sitting because the tendency will be that you might want to go to sleep, which isn't bad, but you've stopped meditating. So feel where it is that you're seated. Now feel the support being offered you by the bolster or the seat or the floor or the bed, and accept it. How can you let the muscles release just a little bit more? How can you let the bones that are contacting that support grow a little bit heavier? Let your eyes come to focus to one point in front of you. Have them open for a moment. They're open very slightly. So if you're seated up, then they're focused just a few feet in front of you. If you're lying down, perhaps the point of focus is more on the wall in front of you. And while your eyes are focused on this point outside of your body, can you use that point of focus, that object of meditation there, a place where your eyes are directed? Can you use that stillness to direct the attention within, the awareness to sensation? Now turning your awareness back to where it is that you're supported by the floor or bed or chair. Can you still feel that support being received? And as the body receives the support, can you feel more breath easefully flowing in and out of the body? Already you're beginning to train the mind to focus where you want and to not pay so much attention to other distractions. Now let's let our awareness come to sight, the receptivity of the eyes. Let your eyes take in shadow and light. Keep your gaze on one point. If the mind tries to bring in thoughts, simply notice it and let it pass by. Bring your awareness back to sight, the receptivity of light and shadow. Thoughts will come in. Let them go as easily as they came. When you notice yourself following the thought, you've done very good. Just that noticing could deserve a little yay and bring the awareness back where you want it to come. Now, let's turn our awareness to sound. The ears become receptive. Notice what sounds you can hear in the room. And what sounds can you hear outside of the room? If the mind tries to bring up more thoughts, simply direct the attention back to sound. Now, for a bit more advanced practice, can you feel that the sound that comes in has some very perhaps subtle but perceivable effect on your state, emotional or physical or mental? You might become more calm or agitated or joyful. All of those are reactions. Some of them are nice. And if you like them, by all means, enjoy. And if you don't like them, then you can simply direct your awareness where you'd like for it to go instead. Or you can sit with that uncomfortable feeling, breathe with it. Remind yourself that it's temporary. And better yet, experience that it's temporary. And now let your eyes close. Now turn your awareness to your breath. You might find it helpful to let the eyes rotate in their sockets so that if you were looking, you'd be looking right between the brow, right at about where the third eye is. Not necessary, but might be helpful. And feel the breath in the body. Can you let go of all the thoughts? Let them go. Can you be in this one moment with your breath? How does the breath feel as it enters your body? Does the in-breath suspend, or does it immediately transition into the out-breath? And what is that sensation? And does the out-breath suspend? Or is there an immediate transition into the in-breath? What does that feel like? Now let the eyes come open. So we were working with perception and sensation to shift the mind where we wanted it to go. This is a very good first step to continue to come back to as often as you like in meditation. The truth is that what we're really getting at is even something underneath that sensation, that perception. Because even that perceiving isn't really who we are. This becomes a bit more advanced to explain, but really it's quite simple. We aren't the doing, we're the being. If that part delights you, then research it. There are many people speaking on this. If that part eludes you, then don't worry about it. Let meditation be for you what is useful right now. If it needs to shift, it will in its own time. If it doesn't need to shift, then you've found exactly what you need in this ancient and beautiful exercise. I hope that was useful. Feel free to comment below and let me know what came up for you in all of that. I'm really curious to find out. And if you'd like, you can send me a small donation to help me with my own practice of putting these teachings out. I'll have a link available to where you could send me even a small donation, but it's not required. This is something that I want for more people to have access to. It's so incredibly useful to be able to harness the power of the mind, and more than that, to be able to identify with it so that we can come back to truly who we are, remember truly who we are, helpful for ourselves and for the community. All right. Blessings to you. It's my honor and my pleasure. Absolute gratitude. Thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful day.